So, good morning. It's a fairly miserable day out there. So, although I had intended to go out for a cycle, I've been defeated by the weather, and I decided instead to use the time to announce the fact that I have finally completed all my day-by-day diaries of my bikepacking trip around the Scottish Highlands and Islands. Um, so that's a mixture of footage from, I think, the first 10 days that I actually edited and posted on the road. And then from about day 10 on, I saved the footage till I got home and edited it later. Still a little bit undecided about which of the two techniques is better. Obviously, the stuff I do at home, I have more time to do video editing on it, and I can bring in more road footage, and all that would be way too time consuming to do on the road. But it does lack the kind of immediate, this is what I'm doing right now aspect. I might use Go Live perhaps instead while I'm on the road, although then you can't add photos in that easily. It's a whole set of compromises that I'm also having to learn as I go along in terms of YouTube. So anyway, those are all up. So if you go to the channel, go to that playlist and start playing, and I recommend a big screen because there's lots of good video and photos in there. You'll then have, I don't know, there must be, there's 29 days. I think there's 27 individual videos because a couple of days I combine them into one, and they're between 4 and about 15 minutes each. So somebody who's faster than me at maths can give you a good estimate of how long that might be, but it might be up to 2 hours, I guess. I am going to be doing other stuff with the footage I have. I'm going to do some explanatory stuff, camping, wild camping, ferries, all that sort of stuff, which I'll add to that playlist as I go through the winter. I mean, I'm not really anticipating getting all that much touring done in winter, unfortunately. I hopefully will be getting a little bit. I'm planning to take my usual winter break to Lanzarote, and this year I'm intending to rent a gravel e-bike and try out some of the off-road routes. If you've looked at the channel, you'll know there is some video there from Lanzarote last year where but what I rented then was more or less a city bike, not really suitable for going off-road. And even though I did go off-road on a couple of occasions, it wasn't really a great experience. I kind of got intrigued anyway by gravel biking at this point in touring because I keep finding myself on rough roads. And if you've watched a lot of my footage, you'll see sometimes that's quite comical. So I am kind of going, I wonder if I'd actually like doing some gravel biking. And definitely Scotland would be an interesting place to go back to with the gravel bike because, as I've commented in a few of the videos, in comparison with Ireland, they've much, much, much fewer minor roads. And certainly that northwest part, there's just the one road running up along the coast that you're on. There isn't really an opportunity to do kind of long diversions off that, and that's quite busy. And if you look at a map, there are huge areas that appear to have no roads whatsoever in them, or maybe just one road going in. But if you have forest tracks and gravel bikes and things like that set up, then it turns out there's a lot more routes. So definitely Scotland might be somewhere that I'd be thinking of doing that. So the other thing I'm doing today is I'm testing out a new camera setup, which is basically I use a Mac. And with the last operating system and with a big update to this one, they've added this whole system where you can use your iPhone to replace your webcam. So I was testing out whether or not if I did a YouTube live, would YouTube allow me to do that? And it turns out they will. So that's why you're seeing some very nice video quality on this. And I'm going to turn on my side light to see if that improves it further. I mean, the thing about YouTube is I kind of started this channel just so I could farm my footage up and have it backed up somewhere. And then I sort of got increasingly intrigued with, I wonder how this works. And you realize that obviously both sound and video quality are pretty damn important, which makes me think that I'm not sure about my mic levels, actually. Anyway, hopefully you can hear me. If somebody is watching and they can't hear me, do let me know. I'll play this back in a while anyway. So yeah, anyway, that's the other thing I wanted to test out is how well the camera would deal with it. And I am well pleased with the results, I have to say. Yeah, it's the funny thing with bikepacking and then wanting to record it. And that initially started off as much as anything else to stay in contact with people, so I could post pictures to them stuff easily, and that what I was doing on Instagram. And then I got a little bit more engrossed in that. I mean, I've always been into kind of recording stuff on video in terms of protests and news related stuff around protests. So this was a whole kind of spin-off of well, why don't I try that cycling? But as you do that and as you get more into it, you start to realize, oh, I need to start conquering all these new technical problems I hadn't considered previously in order to improve what I'm doing. So the first one of those I kind of really tackled this summer, and that I'm now very happy with, was the whole thing of how do I get decent road footage. And that was a whole sequential set of events where initially I was wearing a GoPro camera on my head, but that gets uncomfortable after about 10 minutes. And then I had a chest mount, but the chest mount, you can see your arms in it. So it kind of looks good from an action shot point of view if you're going over rough roads. But it does, because it's quite low, it doesn't have the ability to see over hedges that you'll often have when you're cycling. So you lose a lot of scenery. So then I had that pole, the pole mount. But then I realized for narration purposes, that doesn't work so well, both because if you're cycling and there's wind and things, it doesn't pick up the sound very well. But also for narration, it kind of helps to have me in it. So then I put the swivel on, so then I could turn it around, swivel it back, and I could talk to you, and then I could swivel back to the road again. And like that setup, I'm now going, okay, I think I have a set of things that works. But now in terms of editing and putting video up, I have to work out more of what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm just rambling. I just wanted to do this as a test. I'm happy it's worked. And do go and have a look at all those Scottish diaries and post me a comment on one or more of them and let me know what you think.